It sounds absolutely ridiculous to accredit the relevancy of an entire game engine to one single game made with it. After all, over its almost 30-year lifespan, the RPGMaker engine has produced hundreds of thousands of games. It has a dedicated community that, even to this year, continues to pump out products onto Steam and other distribution platforms such as itch.io. There have been wildly successful games made with it. To the Moon and Lisa the Painful are a few examples of games that absolutely skyrocketed the popularity of RPGMaker, yet this graph continues to fall. In the earlier years of YouTube, RPGMaker horror games were absolutely exploding, with dozens of classics being made, such as The Witch's House, Yumaniki, and Corpse Party, yet this graph continues to fall. And this graph will continue to fall. A few games can't save the relevancy of an engine, and with an engine like RPGMaker that is constantly pumping out terrible games, they really never stood a chance. So it isn't really the relevancy of RPGMaker to which I'm accrediting Omori for saving. What I am accrediting to Omori is making RPGMaker good again in the eyes of the general public. The last big, positively received RPGMaker game that I can think of is probably One Shot, which was released back in 2016. The relevancy of RPGMaker will always continue to fall, but we can still try to save it or at least get some more good games out of it. So, in regards to bringing RPGMaker back into the limelight, Omori has done it, and possibly in a way bigger than ever before. Before we get into the meat of this video though, I apparently need to prove that Omori was actually made in RPGMaker. After I released my first impressions video on Omori, I had two separate people tell me the game wasn't actually completed in RPGMaker. I had no idea this was a point of debate, but apparently because of an official update by OMOCAT in 2017 mentioning how they switched engines, quite a few people now think the game wasn't actually finished in RM. Well, I can very easily dispute this. First of all, the in-game credits literally say RPGMaker MV is the game engine. But if for some reason I need to clear things up further, a crouton in my Discord server recognized the Battle UI plugin and guessed that most likely the engine switch was from RPGMaker VX Ace to MV, and the game's folder looks suspiciously similar to every other RPGMaker game folder ever conceived. So, enough said about that. Riding on their beautiful stallions, the big boy YouTubers come to deliver Omori the clout it so rightfully deserves. For the first time in a long time, multiple larger YouTube channels are taking interest in, or have already made videos for, an RPGMaker game. The dawn of an RPGMaker reckoning is upon us, and I come bearing data and graphs to truly convince you of this. Maybe after this chapter, you'll come over and join the RPGMaker team in our quest to show the world that we can make one single good game every few years. Before we hop into the Omori YouTube rabbit hole and I start spouting opinions and guesses about Omori's popularity, I want to quickly show you some Google Trends data. Google never lies, and by me showing you this data, I can prove to you that my later guesses are based on facts. So guys, let's just jump right into it. Now, I will admit that I've never used Google Trends before, nor have I ever researched a certain topic to this degree. I may make mistakes, but I generally like to consider myself an educated person, so hopefully I'm at least somewhat in the ballpark of correct. Google Trends is a website where you can search certain keywords and find how much interest there is for said word by looking at Google search data. It isn't 100% determining if something is popular, but it's a pretty good indicator. This graph compares the interest in RPGMaker, To the Moon, Omori, Corpse Party, and One Shot from 2004 to present day. I'm pretty sure Corpse Party had the highest spike of popularity for any RPGMaker game, because beyond it, the most popular RPGMaker game I know is To the Moon, and it's all the way down here. Corpse Party's interest peaked right around the time RPGMaker horror games were peaking, reaching a 59 on the graph in 2014, beating out the interest even in RPGMaker since July of 2005. 2 years prior, To the Moon peaked on this graph at an 11, and the most recent big RPGMaker release, One Shot, peaked in 2017 at an 8. In December of last year, when Omori was first released, Omori reached an 11, and 1 month later it hit 41. Even in Omori's first month of release, when there weren't very many larger YouTubers putting out videos on it, its popularity still reached that of To the Moon and beat One Shot. In its second month, it jumped dramatically, nearing the heights of Corpse Party, and still really not that many large YouTube channels have played it. The only times RPGMaker's downward spiral into irrelevancy was stopped was when it had a big game release and when YouTube channels took interest in said games. Omori could stall the irrelevancy of RPGMaker and bring in some new faces to the game dev scene because of it. For me, the popularity of RPGMaker RPGMaker games has always been tied to YouTube, and the fact Omori is reaching such incredible heights and the larger channels still have yet to play it is incredibly promising. Anyone can use Google Trends, and if a YouTuber looks at this and then compares it to the number of popular videos on the game, they'll see that demand is high and supply is rather low. Things like this are a goldmine for channels, and with Omori bringing in these numbers even without that many large channels backing it, well, I have zero doubts that the game is about to absolutely explode. I believe the most popular RPGMaker related video is PewDiePie's Corpse Party Book of Shadows video with 18 million views. The most popular Omori related video has 9.4 million views, but you could argue that that's because it's mainly about the Maroon 5 song. In that case, the most popular entirely Omori related video has 7.4 million views. These are insane numbers, especially considering both of these videos were uploaded by smaller channels. Actually, a lot of Omori videos are uploaded by small channels and are doing incredibly well. If you have about 200,000 views from a channel with under 5,000 subscribers, what happens if that channel had 1 million subscribers? 5 million subscribers, 100 million subscribers. I've been in the RPGMaker scene for quite a while, and numbers like these are incredibly rare for RPGMaker games, especially in the way Omori is getting them. I have exactly zero doubts in my mind that Omori is the most popular RPGMaker game in 7 years, and if the large channels that I'm predicting will make videos on it actually do, it might just become the most popular RPGMaker game of all time. So then, the question is, does Omori deserve this popularity? There has to be a reason why Omori got this popular, it can't just be a fluke. Well, I played Omori in its entirety, and even though I hate RPGMaker games the most out of everyone on planet Earth, you can watch my Omori First Impressions video to see why that is, I still absolutely loved the game, and I have quite a few ideas and reasons on why I think it got so popular. This is your official spoiler warning. I will be spoiling the entirety of Omori from here on out, or at least the entirety of the ending I got. If you are even considering playing Omori, I would suggest you leave this video now, because playing it blind is one of the best gaming experiences I have ever had. When I, someone who loves money, tells you to stop watching my video early, that's when you know it's serious. You have 3, 2, 1, okay. Let's begin. Actually, I have no idea where to begin. There are so many things to say about this game, but at the same time, so little I can truly explore. A 2-minute long story summary would do no justice to the 15-hour-long build-up I endured, but out of courtesy for those who may be watching without having played the game, I'm going to do my best to summarize the story. In Omori, you play as Omori, or do you? In Omori, you play as Sunny, a kid who's become a hikikomori after an unknown traumatic event occurred. To cope with, or more likely to escape from, the reality of this trauma, Sunny creates a fictional world in his mind to which he can escape reality. Joining you in this fantasy world are your friends Kel, Aubrey, Hiro, and your older sister Mary. These are people who do or did exist in the real world, however this version of them is from 4 years ago before the traumatic event occurred, and not the version they actually are today. The fantasy world Sunny explores as Omori is an idealized version of reality. It's not really the trippy worlds and characters that Sunny wishes were real, but rather the old thoughts and feelings of his friends. He wishes things would go back to how they were before. In the real world, Sunny's moving away from his hometown in 3 days. The hometown where all these friends live, and the place where the horrible thing happened. Sunny has not left his house in the 4 years since the traumatic event. Actually, screw it, I might as well just tell you what happened. The traumatic event that occurred was the death of Sunny's older sister Mary. In my playthrough, I chose to leave the house and try to bring Sunny some peace, and the fact your older sister is dead is revealed to you after a confrontation with Aubrey, your friend who's changed dramatically since the death of Mary. Actually, everyone has changed, and everyone has grown up. Kel is the one who seeks you out and who appears the most similar, but nobody really could be after what happened. Aubrey's a bully, Hiro's off at college, and Basil, well, Basil's an absolute wreck. Over the course of the game, you reconnect with your friends in the real world and go on a search for Basil, who's mysteriously disappeared in the fantasy one. In the real world, Hiro comes back from college and saves Basil after Aubrey pushed him into a lake. Then, in the fantasy world, as you explore more and more, you and your friends begin to forget Basil more and more. This story revolves heavily around Basil, but it isn't really revealed why until the very end. Actually, something important that is revealed at the start about Basil is that Basil loves taking pictures. Basil took a ton of pictures while all the friends were together and happy, and these pictures are what will make you cry. After Hiro saves Basil, he and Kel sleep over at your house, which leads to this scene, which is the most wholesome thing ever made. In the morning, one of Aubrey's new friends comes over to your house, saying they're really worried about her and asks if you could go talk to her. Entering Aubrey's house, you can immediately tell why she's such an asshole. After you patch things up with Aubrey and put the pictures of Mary she stole back into Basil's photo album, the four of you go to see Basil, but he isn't at home. His grandma collapsed and he's in the hospital. So, in the meantime, the four of you go to Sunny's backyard to see your old treehouse. The treehouse all the friends built together. Up to this point, Sunny has refused to go out this door, and when he finally does, we get to see why. On the way to the treehouse is the stump of the tree Mary used to hang herself. Now, Hiro and Mary were dating, so how this guy manages to stand and continue onwards is beyond me. I really want to give all the characters in this game a hug. After reliving old memories in the treehouse, you go back to Basil's house and end up staying the night. This is when everything is revealed and when your heart stops beating. In the middle of the night, you alone go to confront Basil, who has locked himself in his room. Now, during my playthrough, I thought Basil had also hung himself, but I was so wrong. What is revealed to you in a truly haunting sequence of events is that Sunny killed Mary. It was an accident, but he and Basil, who was there at the time, didn't know what to do, so they worked together to frame it as a suicide so their friends maybe wouldn't hate them. What I can only assume is the reason for Sunny killing Mary is that they got in an argument over their music recital. Mary died the day before she and Sunny were going to play a duet, and I assume the argument that led to Sunny pushing her down the stairs was about Sunny's fear of playing the violin. Then, in a trippy-ass sequence that occurs right after you relive the memories of you and your friends happy and together, you and Mary play your song together. Everybody cries, and the credits roll. Most likely, my story summary was total dogshit and says the story is much less interesting and emotional than it really is. The story I told to you in about 2 minutes is what was told to me in over 15 hours, with much more subtlety, symbolism, and heart than I could ever recreate. Since you now know the basics of the story, but likely don't grasp the full impact it can have on the player unless you've played it yourself, I can only think of one way to truly show you. I'm not a big crier, and I'm also someone who's very confident in his own abilities. A commenter even called me a know-it-all, which is probably fair. Before I played Omori, I was even somewhat jealous of the attention it was receiving, and frustrated that my own game saw much less success, which tells you a lot about the kind of person I am. Only twice have any pieces of media made me question my ability to write, and made me break down into tears. The first is BoJack Horseman, and the second is Omori. And so, to prove how powerful Omori is, here's a compilation of me crying to Omori. Man, fuck this game, dude. It's really sad. Fuck, oh my cat, dude. What the fuck? It hurts, dude. It really hurts. This is the one emotion I can't handle. I can't handle most other things, but nostalgia fucks me, man. God. Oh, I'm not okay. God. Oh, I can't handle much more of this, dude. I'm gonna fucking die. Oh, I'm crying about him. Oh, I'm crying about him, Hiro. Oh, God, I'm not okay. Fuck you, game. It's midnight on a school night, and here I am crying at the end of Omori. God. Oh my God. What a good game. Holy shit. The way this game presents its story is ingenious. It tells you rather early on that your sister Mary is dead, and I actually managed to figure this out before it was revealed, but that was probably intended. Since this fact is revealed to the player, but the way she died is kept uncertain until the very end, the player assumes that the way she died will be the big twist. I assumed the big twist would be Mary committing suicide, and I even gave a big rant on how mental illnesses are unpredictable, but then the game shows you that Sunny killed her. This is the part of the game where I started hyperventilating. This is the part of the game where I could hardly continue. This is not a twist I expected in the slightest. This is not something I was prepared to handle. And this is one of the greatest moments of storytelling out of any piece of media I've ever consumed.
What the fuck? Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god. Did I kill Mary? Did I push her down the stairs? Oh my god. Did I kill Mary? No. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck? Why? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can safely say I was not expecting that. What the fuck? Oh my... Holy shit. What a fucking twist! Oh my god. Oh my god. I was not expecting that. That is insanely fucked. Please, forgive me. What, did you hang Mary or something? What the fuck are you talking about, forgive you? Love you, man. Oh, no way.
Something I always try to reflect on after finishing a particularly powerful piece of media is whether or not I was moved because the way the story or events were written was well done, or because the subject matter covered was dark or sad. I call it the Goblin Slayer dilemma. Goblin Slayer has some horrific rape scenes in its first episode. Some people think it adds to the story, others think it's like a jump scare and that it's dumb bullshit put there to shock you. In OMORI, I think it's a mix of both. The presentation and build-up in this game are phenomenal. There's some gorgeous imagery, some well-written foreshadowing, and some very competent misdirection. I was always going to cry at the topic of childhood memories, but the context that OMORI places it in, the character building it does before and after, and the fucking gorgeous soundtrack and art it has to accompany it pushed me over the edge. On top of all of this, OMORI has moments of excellent existential horror. The game's jump scares suck. This one in particular was garbage, but the creeping realization of reality and the way the truth is slowly revealed to you is beyond haunting. There is some incredibly trippy art in this game, and for the most part, this art serves the story and only adds to the experience. Beyond the art, the music is fucking phenomenal! The only RPGMaker game that can compete is Rockwin, but even though Rockwin's a great game that centered a lot around music, I can't help but feel that the way OMORI uses its music to create atmosphere and draw out emotion from the player is done much better. There are constant callbacks to previous songs, especially the title screen music, and since these songs are associated with certain moments in the game, when those songs are later placed in a different context, it's emotionally devastating. Also, the character development in OMORI is top-notch. Since Kel was the one who came to my house and was the one being so kind to me, whereas Aubrey was being a dickhead bastard, I started chanting "Reject Aubrey, return to Kel." However, this was a sentiment that I genuinely had to force myself to hold on to just for the meme. Aubrey has some fantastic scenes of reconciliation later on in the story, and as more is revealed about her, you can't help but forgive her and like her again. This game got me to do a complete 180 of my initial assumption about a character, and it got me to question my own character's point of view, which is something that most media doesn't get me to do, let alone an RPGMaker game. Finally, I want to address the combat. The combat is very good. This is the biggest compliment I could ever give this game. It made me enjoy RPG Maker combat. I've never before put so much thought into my character's equipment. I've never before used items. I've never before done anything but spam attack. Over the course of the game, you're given many different skills and allowed to pick and choose which ones you want to equip for each character. This allows you to develop your own style of play, and as the battles get harder, forces you to develop an actual strategy. The game also uses a really unique emotion system where different emotions give different buffs or make certain skills more powerful. Seeing that Aubrey has a bunch of happy-related skills, I built her and Omori around the happy emotion. Kel is useless besides the fact he attacks first, and I really just boosted the shit out of Hero's health so he could be the healer without worrying about dying himself. Additionally, since Omori has a passive, story-related ability where the first time his health goes down to 0, he doesn't die, I was able to replace his guard skill with a more combat-oriented one. I did a similar thing with Aubrey, but this led to her usually dying first. Actually, most fights ended with just Omori and Hero left alive. Was there a better way to do combat? Yeah, probably, but I got to choose this way. This way felt unique to me and made the combat 100 times more interesting because I had to develop a strategy and I had to commit to it myself. I never do more combat than necessary in RPG Maker games, but in Omori I released this horde of bears and fought through the entirety of them just because I wanted to say that I did. And I had fun doing it. My world's been flipped upside down. One thing I've neglected to talk about so far is the price. Omori costs $20 and this is one of the largest asking prices of any RPG Maker game I've ever seen. It doesn't seem to be holding Omori back though, it's still incredibly popular and incredibly good even at that price. But would I recommend it to you at $20? Well, yeah. I mean, I may be a teenager who hasn't fully grasped the value of money, but I've paid more than $20 for a game before and gotten much less out of it. Omori has its flaws, and before I beat it, I actually did have some criticisms lined up against it, such as how fast travel takes too long or how you shouldn't be able to lose in the final fight against yourself. But in all honesty, it really doesn't matter. Despite being an RPG Maker game, and despite being developed by an incredibly small team, I never felt like Omori overstayed its welcome, and I still cried my eyes out at the end. This game has surreal art and amazing music. It has a haunting and sad story, and good combat. It has a Toby Fox song, it has gambling, it has young love, it has weirdo love, and it has wholesome shit all around and a horrifying secret to destroy it all.
Toby Fox was in this game, motherfucker. He's everywhere.
This game is beyond phenomenal. This game is the pinnacle of what good writing and direction looks like. This is what I aspire to create. This is the game I look up to. To everyone involved in the creation of this product, you get Toasty's sincerest love and utmost respect. I've been truly humbled by playing this game, and I'm forever grateful that I was allowed to buy it. Omori Beyond deserves all the recognition it's been getting. In fact, it deserves so much more recognition than what it has, and I hope this video is able to promote it just a little bit more. I think my reaction at the very end of the game's credits says it all.
What an incredible game. What an incredible game. What an incredible game. What a phenomenal game. What an amazing fucking game. It's going down in my old-time favorites for sure, without a doubt. What an incredible game. What a fantastic experience.
If you've played Omori or are just wanting to go on an Omori content binge, I've linked some interesting videos about it in the description. If you want to continue the conversation about Omori, please leave a comment and I'll be sure to respond. If this video or game has made you at all interested in using RPG Maker, here's a free copy of RPG Maker MV. Thank you for watching, and have a fantastic day.